Hi guys, Freddy here, welcome back to the desktop for another retro RPG. And this week I would like to present this, the HackMaster Hacklopedia of Beasts Volume 1. Aarakians to Cats, great. Now this is a 2001 sourcebook for the HackMaster role-playing game, which was a parody of Dungeons & Dragons. Now I've reviewed it before, and my problem with it was it seemed overly complex for a comedy game. But people have quite rightly pointed out that HackMaster was actually first edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons taken forward and improved. Now, the licensing that Kenzer & Co., who published HackMaster, had was that they could only do a parody game. So HackMaster has all the trappings of being a parody game, while all the rules of being a very serious role-playing game. Now, HackMaster itself is quite interesting because looking at the rules, you can see it's a path not taken for Dungeons & Dragons. It's come to the same solutions, adding skills, adding stat advancement and such things, but going in a very different path to 2nd edition and then 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons. But the Hacklopedia of Beasts is basically the monster manual. They've taken a lot of the beasts out of the original monster manuals, and repackaged them for HackMaster, changing the stats slightly. Generally, they've got more hit points, but they've also added in a lot of comedy parody creatures. And it's quite an interesting book. However, this is volume 1 of 8. Now, when I bought this was about 15 UK pounds. In America, it was marked as $19.95. So the monster manual you can pick up these days for about £25–30. Back then it was about £20. It was one of the cheaper books. The core rule books, they managed to keep the price down through bulk printing. But with HackMaster, you're talking about spending 120 UK pounds to get the entirety of the monster manual, 160-ish American dollars, which is a lot of money just to pay on monsters, especially when a lot of it, as I said, is a reprint. But Kenzer & Co. did a lot of really good things. So let's start off with the back cover. So one of the points I'd like to make, they've got a sample monster on the back cover here. And that's pretty darn good. So when you pick this book up in the game store, you can see an example of what's going to be inside. Now, I know most of our friendly game stores let you leaf through the books. They don't tend to seal things. But bigger stores do seal everything, so you're not getting one with people's finger grease on the edges of the pages and things. But this gives you a sample of what's on the back, so thumbs up for that straight away. The Hacklopedia of Beasts. This comprehensive set of reference manuals is a must for every HackMaster GM. In the first volume, terrifying monsters whose names begin with letters A to C are described in sometimes frightening scientific detail. Every monster in the 4th edition Hacklopedia has been revised, edited, and updated, and have had their hack factors beefed up to bring them in line with the rest of the game. Among other features, readers will learn about monsters' social structures, activity cycles, diets, attack modes, including special attacks, morale, and even how they make most of their kills by salvaging potentially valuable monster remains. Nowadays, the quick march of events and rapidity of new discoveries, the expansion of human activity, and the additions of arcane learning require a work such as the Hacklopedia of Beasts. This book provides a detailed list of creatures, both large and small, from the flora and fauna of the Garwese world and beyond. And that's what it is. It's a monster manual. I won't go through everything. Let's have a flick through it, though. So, they do use the inside of the covers for advertising the Player's Handbook, Games Master Book, and a couple of adventures. Seems a little pointless. Are you really going to have picked up the Hacklopedia of Beasts if you don't already own the core rulebooks? Not really sure. But it's their printing costs, so I suppose it's up to them. Table of contents, or credits rather. Their warning that this is for the Games Master's eyes only. A foreword. Reality check. This fictional works collective known as HackMaster are what is known as a fantasy role-playing game. Some of the material may not be suitable to children and or young readers. A table of contents. Quite an extensive one. How to use this book. and then detailing the different things for the monsters. So morale, hack faster, ecology, yield, psionics. And we're on to the monsters. So we've Aarakians. We've got different types of them. So we've got brood watchers, workers, warriors, brood watchers again, queens, aardvark, dire. And that's kind of what the book does. It goes through, if the type of creature can be broken down into subsets, it will do that. So, as I said, the Aarakians have different types of bugs within their nests. Aerial servants, giant amoeba, giant alligators, angels, a redeemer angel, Anku. I'm just trying to flick through really to find some of the more interesting things. Now, obviously, I haven't played HackMaster. I've read through the rules extensively, enjoyed some of the humour within, and treasured some of the design choices, but I've never played it, so this book is very new and very springy. We've got giant ant lions, ant-men, Anthraxians, and the artwork's quite nice. There's plenty of it. It varies in style between sort of serious monsters. So we've got anti-elementals. Carnivorous ape is a very cartoon-like, which, given that HackMaster comes from the Knights of the Dinner Table comic strip, makes a lot of sense. Shadow apes, arcane merchants, a dire armadillo, as if that wasn't just put in for comedy purposes. Arvangers, ashen prowlers. That's quite a basic concept, but very in the style. An attention getter, an avenging servant. Cantankerous babblers. Baboon men. The dread badger. Yeah, so a lot of these are just comedy things. The giant bandy-tailed fighting cock. I wonder if I'll get demonetized for saying that. It is only a giant chicken. Banshee Lord. An urban barbarian. Unlike the barbarians of the wastes, urban barbarians have adapted to city life, yet cling to savage traditions. These individuals are either barbarians who have been separated from the wilderness tribe, or have had to adapt to civilization, or they are people who simply don't fit in with general society. Are these gang members, basically? Burrowing basilisk, stragulous basilisk, greater basilisk. So, as you can see, there's a lot of repetition in here. You know, do we really need the arcane bat, the fire bat, the general bat, the pack bat? Before we go on to beaked horrors, what different types of bear have we got? We've got a bear. Black, grizzly, cave, polar, poisonous, blizzard. Beasts of burden. So we've got draft horses, heavy horses, medium horses, light horses, ponies, and wild horse. Beast shamans. A giant beaver. A great red marauding beaver. I think these are mainly made to make you smirk as you read them out. Regular bees, giant worker bees, giant soldier bees, giant bumblebees. There's so much in here, which would be great if it was a serious game, but are you really going to use many of these in a serious game? Different beholders here: the Death Kiss, the Goth, the Spectator, the Voyeur, the Undead, the Elder Orb. Beholderkin, abominations, a Hive Mother, Director, Examiner, Lensman, Overseer, and Watcher. You can see different types of beholders. Aquatic bird, a collector bird, bison viders, black anise, a blind rich pursuer, blood guzzler, boar man. Different types of boar: wild, giant, warthog, and snow boar. bog lurkers, bogglemen. I just feel like I'm listing things. The boobry, an enormous migratory bird. Bovinians, so female cowmen. Carnivorous brain mites, brain moles, a brownie, a barbarian brownie, quickling brownies, greater brownies, bugbears, bullets, bull angler, a bulboon, giant bullfrog, giant man-eating bullfrog, bullywug, butterfly steed, a wild carrion camel. I have difficulty even reading some of these out because they're ridiculous. A carnage saw. It is clear why carnage saws have been fodder for horror stories on Garby's world for eons. Their massive green bodies can reach lengths of 50 foot, and their jaws are filled with menacing teeth that can do devastating damage. Their tails are long and deadly, and as thick as tree trunks. So, giant, dangerous dinosaurs. Carrion crawlers, carrion grubs. Different types of cats. Now, I do find it kind of strange that we've got different great cats here detailed. But when we went back to the other monsters, they were just one description with many tables. Probably the effect of having different writers. Although perhaps they thought with lion, for example, being broken down into common, mountain lion, spotted lion. They were going to be too many. It was just going to be pages of tables, perhaps. I'm trying to see what the differences is. EP values, number appearing is larger, morale is different. They don't seem a lot different, and the mountain lions do seem weaker and come in smaller groups. And we're through to the back, ending with Great Tiger Cat. And on the back there's an advert for Knights of the Dinner Table and Knights of the Dinner Table Illustrated. So the difference being Knights of the Dinner Table was the story of the players around the table, and you would see sometimes what they were doing in game, whereas Knights of the Dinner Table Illustrated is told from the point of view of the characters, so their stories. And that is the HackMaster Hacklopedia of Beasts. Now, I was actually so much into HackMaster and enjoying it so much, I did buy all 8 volumes of these, but I don't really expect to return and do a video on these unless I'm extremely desperate for content. As I've said, HackMaster's an interesting idea, but it's 2 ideas crammed together. The idea of rewriting the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons rules and taking it in a different direction to that which TSR and then Wizard of the Coast had done. Because this was published in 2001, so by that time Wizard of the Coast had already taken over publishing Dungeons & Dragons, and we were on to 3rd edition. As I said, this was a licensed version of Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. But you've got that side where they'd rewritten the rules and taken that, but they've got a comedy side which is crowbarred in, and it's a bit of an awkward fit. I understand there's a new edition out, and perhaps that works better, but I don't have that. But, as usual, I think I've whittled on for quite long enough. Thank you very, very much for watching, as always. It is very much appreciated. Please like, subscribe, and comment below, because that does me absolute wonders with the YouTube algorithm. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.